Welcome teams, mentors, and students to This Is How We Robot. I'm Coach John Burdett, and in this episode we're going to be talking to you about how we scout other robots and teams at FRC events. Scouting effectively can elevate your team's level of play to take a mid-level robot like us and topple the giants. But before we begin, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And then leave a comment below with your team name and number so we know who's tuning in. Our experienced viewers know this, but rookies, you need to be aware that all teams are watching all other teams on the field in every match to figure out the strengths and weaknesses of every robot and team. Teams develop their own preferred methods of scouting, and some even go so far as to analyze the data in sophisticated software like Tableau. Those tools are very effective for those teams, but here in this video, we're going to be showing you how to get started using simple paper and pencil methods. So let's get scouting, because this is how we robot. So what is scouting and why bother? These are two very important questions, and let's be straight with this. FRC is a competition played as a 3-on-3 sport. Going into a match, your drive team will have to work with other teams as an alliance against another group working as an alliance. To relate to another sport, in basketball there are defined roles of players and known shooting percentages, as well as known habits for positions or shot styles. FRC is no different, but because the game changes each year with new robots, the information needs to be developed during the competition. And much like you would not want to have Shaquille O'Neal shooting threes in your NBA playoffs, you want to be sure that every member of your team knows their role and will be the most successful alliance possible. To do this, we make sure that we gather data on ourselves and our alliance partners. Whenever we go into a drive team meeting, we have the hard data about robot performance so we can talk openly and honestly. Never let a team tell you what they think they can do, because every team, including ours, lies. Teams will tell you that about one time that they hit 100% of their shots in a practice match by themselves on their home site. If you come in with hard data about their last match or series of matches, then an honest conversation can be had instead of a shouting match at each other. This also means being honest about you and your robot. Games can be won by a single point, and therefore knowing how much the opposing alliance can score and then how much your alliance can score impacts the strategy for the match. The more that is known about each alliance, the more team members can focus on executing the game plan instead of adapting on the fly. For example, if we know our alliance generally will not score more than the opponent's alliance, then we'll make a strategy to cause chaos and confusion for the opposing alliance and hopefully bring down their score. If we know that we will score more, then we will develop a strategy to protect our high scorers as we anticipate the opposing alliance sending chaos our way. We use scouting throughout the entire event, and we chalk up much of our success to knowing more about the opposing alliance than they know about themselves. Good data and good scouting is a point of pride for teams, including our own. So let's practice scouting. For the purposes of this video, we're going to be using the 2016 FRC game Stronghold. Here on the screen is a sample scouting sheet we used during that season, and we're going to be using this on a match from the Michigan State Championship that year. In particular, we're going to be looking at Team 494, the Martians, during one of their qualification rounds. You do not need to know all of the ins and outs of the rules from this game, but know that teams earn points by scoring balls, called boulders, into high and low goals into a tower, by crossing obstacles up to 2 times on their side, and by parking at the tower or even climbing at the end of the match. So on our sheet, we have spaces to track the data for each of these. Driving score, we will get into a little later, but I will evaluate this at the end of the match anyway. So let's take a look at Stronghold. You will want to pause the video right now and either pull up the spreadsheet as linked in the description below and print one out, or mark digitally for yourself as practice. Okay, let's begin. Remember, The first section of the match here is autonomous, so we will only mark in the auton section of the sheet. 494 drives over what were known as the ramparts, and we will mark those in the defense B here. Know that 494 will only go over B, the low bar, and then A at the end. They line up for their shot in autonomous and make it into the high goal. Mark that down. Now begins the tally-up phase of the game. I'm going to let the announcers take over from here, and I'll check in with you at the end of the match.
Nice. Blue Alliance follow Chaos Inhibitors and the Green Engineers, both scoring 5 points quickly for the Blue Alliance. Coming back over the stone wall and finishing that out is the Hackbots. Green Engineers out of Berrien Springs trying to negotiate the chili fries. Catching that little Lexan on the sides. And they're up. They're over and ding, the fries are done. The Berrien Springs, Berrien Springs Green Engineers finished the chili fries off. 2 scores by the Blue Alliance. Hackbots coming in for another score. They're looking to go down. They drop a deuce on the right side. Martians in the left. More Martians on the top shooting 5-pointers. Martians take a shot, and they drop a 5-pointer at 71 seconds left. Got a 179 game. Both alliances have secured their ranking points. And another one drained up by the more Martians, and they're just scarfing up that low-hanging fruit, sneaking into the secret passage. Could be problems. Who is that over there? That was more Martians draining another 5-pointer. Both towers are weakened. Hackbots got their arm getting ready to extend. 52-03 is getting onto the batter. It looks like they're going to try and drop another deuce. They shoot and score down low. 15 seconds left. Hackbots out of Farmington. They're going up. Got a little farther to go. Frames bending a little bit. There they go. Now they're not quite high enough.
All right, let's see how you did. Did you catch all 5 shots made by 494? Did you mark both times they went over the B defense and the one time they came over the A defense? Good work. Know that they parked at the bottom of the tower at the end, known as the batter, but did not attempt or score a climb. So we would mark the batter as that counts for points, but nothing about a climb attempt or a score. Here, I noted a driving score of 4 out of 5, as they did a really nice job staying in smooth, controlled motion throughout the match. Also, if you notice their intake, the boulder would pop out if they didn't get it just right. If I were an opponent, I would definitely assign a nuisance spot to poke them whenever they were intaking a ball. If they were on our alliance, I would certainly ask them to handle traversing the A defenses, low bar, as they handled that with ease. Now let's take a moment to view and discuss different levels of driving. This information is good to know for both alliances, as you can honestly assess and plan for action during gameplay. Why spend time defending an opponent who has enough trouble just trying to traverse the field? Equally, why spend time trying to defend a robot who can just swerve around you every time? Let's take an honest look at a level 1 of driving. So here is our own team, 4327, in the year 2015 during the game which shall not be named. We are struggling to move into position exactly where we want, and our robot appears to be moving out of control. There's no smooth movement, and if left to themselves, probably could not get out of a corner. That's level 1 driving. Now let's take a look at level 3 driving. Again, our team, 4327, but from 2014 in aerial assist. Here we can see smooth, controlled movement between defending robots and able to position in order to score the game piece. This is a high 3 for me, and maybe even a 4 if the robot drove across the field, but we appear to stay in one spot. And finally, a level 5. Here we're looking at the motion of 2767 Strike Force out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, during the Festival of Champions for the 2017 game, Steamworks. Not only do they have a great swerve drivetrain, but their motion is absolutely controlled throughout the match. They're fast and they evade defenders. There is never a doubt in my mind that this drive team knows where they want to go, how to get the robot into position, and their robot responds accordingly. So how do we organize our team to be effective scouters? As we did earlier in the 2016 gameplay, we only scout one robot or team at a time. Even though there are 6 robots playing in any one given match, there is too much action happening simultaneously in a live event to effectively track more than one robot's performance at a time. So for us, we like to organize our students into a set of 6 scouters, a lead scout, and a lead scout assistant throughout the event. Due to the tedious nature of scouting, we rotate which students are scouters for a given set of matches in the event that I discussed in a previous video. The assistant to the lead scouter is in charge of organizing all the team's sheets during the matches. This means reorganizing the sheets turned in from the last match, as well as preparing the sheets for the upcoming one. This is a tough one, as there are up to 65 teams in the regional, and so organization is key. The lead scout's job is to manage the scouters to be sure all match play was marked and done properly. This means making sure that even when a robot did not complete an action, that column is marked so that all data is correct for each and every match. So each sheet has 12 different slots because there could be up to 12 matches per team per event. Their other role is to offer insight to the drive team or strategy mentor. During an event, I will approach the lead scout asking for information about the 5 other robots in our next match. The lead scout then pulls the sheets of paper for those robots and offers any insight or secret sauce about those teams or machines. This often includes things not tracked on the sheet, such as electrical issues or habits of the team. If a team has one strict sweet spot for scoring a game piece, we can then use that information to disrupt their gameplay. And I'll take that information as a lead of strategy over to the drive team so they can have an effective communication with the other members of the alliance. And now for a quick note on pit scouting. Because you will not have all the information prior to the first match, pit scouting can be a very useful tool when used appropriately. Everything we do for pit scouting is done objectively. We stopped asking teams about the projected scoring capabilities or drive speed or other subjective matters, as we understand every team lies. So instead, we focus on the drivetrain of their robot and the physical capabilities. Knowing if a team has a tank, Mecanum, or swerve-style drivetrain plays a big role in our confidence in playing defense, or playing defense against them. Therefore, we will just note the objective matters in pit scouting and leave the claims of scoring capabilities to the objective match play. So what do we do with this information? As described previously and in other videos, our drive team plans with the other drive teams prior to any match. This conversation goes best for us when every party involved is open and honest about their capabilities, and this means having confidence in the scouting data is critical. Any match can be won by a single point, and this means maximizing your alliance's scoring power or bringing down the opposing alliance's scoring opportunities. One missed shot or one disrupted driving pattern will make the difference between winning and losing the match. From my experience, my best application of scouting comes from assessing exactly how many points our alliance can score versus the number of points the opposing alliance can score, and then coming up with a game plan from there. Every team member needs to plan out where they will be during autonomous, and then where they're going to go during the first 20 seconds of teleop. The last thing an alliance wants is to get in their own way because all members are trying to go for the same spot on the field at the start of the match. Finally, for my favorite examples of where good scouting and good strategy pays off, let's go back to that 2016 game of Stronghold, which we scouted earlier. If teams have already competed in an event prior to your competition, then you may be able to get a preview of their work. In cases like these, not only can we assess their scoring capabilities, but also look for the secret sauce along the way. For this, I present Team 2771 Code Red Robotics out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, with their gravity-fed shooter. This was a common shooting solution which integrated an intake in the down position with the feed and shoot in the up position. In this video, notice how there is a split second of time where the ball is just freely falling in the air between the intake and shooting solutions. Now let's see them playing at an Indiana first event, where another team also noticed the secret sauce. Take a look at this defender approaching 27-71 and waiting for them to line up for a shot. They know that if a bump is timed correctly, then the shooting solution will not be able to adapt in time and will shoot out the ball regardless. They do this again and again, much to the frustration of 27-71. But this is where scouting pays off, in disrupting the opponent's play of the game, while the other two robots from the Alliance are still scoring during the match. And then here's my personal favorite for unconventional thinking of scouting and strategy. This match is from 2017 Steamworks and the Michigan State Championship final elimination rounds. This was the second match where the Blue Alliance lost the first and were looking to come back to force a tiebreaker. They knew the Red Alliance could score more points thanks to their gear running capabilities, but the Blue Alliance had better capabilities with the fuel. So here they assigned 2 of the robots to go to the Red Alliance side and jam up 2 out of the 3 scoring mechanisms, risking yellow cards for wearing out the carpet, but nevertheless, this was a play perfectly within the rules. This disrupted the Red Alliance's plans as they had only one place to score, with all 3 robots trying to do so, and then the Blue Alliance robot 2337, the Engineers out of Grand Blanc, Michigan, was free to shoot balls into the boiler and scored at will. Did they win? No, but the score was far closer than otherwise would be, and had all 3 blue robots been able to successfully complete their climbs, then the Blue Alliance would have won. It was a great strategy. So wrapping up, scouting is a critical part of effective gameplay at FRC events. Organizing your students can not only get more team members actively involved at the event, but also improves your ability to effectively plan for each and every match. Good scouting means to know your opposing alliances as well as your own, and then use that knowledge to plan out a strategy. If your team members take pride and do well, you may even be able to creatively observe the secret sauce to help give your alliance the edge over the opponents. Things like drivetrain style, favored positions for scoring, and even habitual paths can help lead to a win. Teams tend to like specific patterns in their gameplay, and disrupting those patterns can be the difference between winning by a point or losing by 1. Thanks for watching and being with us here today. Remember to leave a comment with your team name and number so we know what robots to cheer for this season. And as always, subscribe to this channel to keep finding out more on This Is How We Robot.